Hello and welcome to part 2 of the rhythm presentation. We will continue discussing the what, why, and how of rhythm, and this presentation will start off talking with meter. Now, meter is the specific way that beats are organized in music. And music is typically organized into either a duple, which is a 2 or 4 beat feel, or a triple feel, which would be a 3 beat feel. Almost every piece of music that we listen to has one of those meters. And if you listen to a song and you pay attention to how the melody is moving and also what's happening in the accompaniment instruments such as the rhythm section, the drums, bass, you can usually determine whether it's a duple or a triple feel or meter in it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to listen to some examples. I'm going to have you listen to about 25 seconds of an example and try and determine the feel of it, the meter. Is it a duple or a triple meter? And then I will play it again and I will count the meter out for you while you're listening. And so the way to do this is to start counting in your head as you listen to it, and try and find where the downbeat or the beginning of the organization starts. And so you would count in your head 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over, and see if that fits the feel of the song. Is that lining up with what's happening in the melody or the other instruments? And if it's not feeling correct, then try the triple. Try counting to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And see if that fits. Okay, so here's the first example, and see if you can determine the meter of the song by counting with it. So if you were counting to that, the beat would have been dot, dot, dot was the speed, and it was in a duple feel, so you would have been counting 1, 2, 1, 2, or you could have been counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's listen again, and hopefully you can hear me count the beat as you listen to the example. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one example for you. So here's another one. I'd like you to try and determine the meter of the song. Is it a duple or a triple meter? Okay, that meter was in a triple feel, and so you would have been counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So let's listen again to a little bit of it, and I will count out the meter for you as you're listening. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that definitely had a triple meter to it. Here's another example. Do the same thing. See if you can determine the meter. Okay, that one was in a duple feel, so you would have been counting 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's listen again to feel that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So as you listen to the melody of that one, it definitely lines up very well if you were counting in 2. Okay, here's one more example for you. Again, trying to determine the meter. Is it a duple or a triple? Okay, that one had some good cues in it to help us determine that. If you noticed on the downbeat of each time the meter started again, it was very clear note. Boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum. So that was in a triple feel. So let's listen to that again for just a short time and count it together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's how meter works. It's how the beats are organized, and as I said, typically almost every song you'll listen to is in either a duple or a triple feel, and you can usually determine that by listening. Now I want to talk about for just a moment another example of accents and how they can be used to create an exciting melody. And so we're going to talk about what's called syncopation, and this is where you place accents or emphasis off the beat. You've got the steady beat, dut, 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 dut. Syncopation is where you place emphasis off the beat, dut, 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 dut. And that's what syncopation is. And sometimes it's hard to recognize or to hear it, but one of the styles of music that employs this technique a lot is called ragtime. It was a very famous piano style of music in the United States in the late 1800s. It was a predecessor to jazz, the way that they were accenting off beats, and it was kind of what started what's called the swing style of jazz. So I'd like you to listen to this example of a ragtime piece and see if you can feel how it's syncopated. Find the beat as you listen, and then hear how the melody accents off the beat. When you're not tapping your foot, the melody is doing things that are accenting it. So listen for just a little bit of this. Alright, so that's just a short example of that, and I don't know if you can hear me singing along with it, accenting that off the beat, but that's an example of syncopation. Another pretty typical example is what's called the clave rhythm, and this is used a lot in Latin music. You can see an example of what it looks like in music form. The picture that showed up, the blue notes on the top are the beat, the steady beat, and then the black notes are the actual rhythm, how it's notated. So if you were to have a steady beat, dut, 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 the clave rhythm is this, dut, 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 dut. And that's really popular in Latin music. You've probably heard it a lot, and that's just a brief introduction to it. But that's a way that syncopation can work. And so rhythm can have a lot of different things and ways that it's created, but it's very exciting and it's an important element of music that music would not exist without it.